Hello, this is Brian Tracy, and welcome to this seminar on Get Out of Debt. Here's the fact. You are in debt today because of yourself, because of your own choices and decisions. Now, this is one of the hardest things to accept because many of us feel that we're in debt because of our bills and our family responsibilities and our necessities and our low pay and everything else. But the fact is, the reason that you're in debt is because you have decided to be in debt. And the way that you get out of debt is you decide to get out of debt. I met a friend the other day who had lost about 30 pounds. Since the last time I saw him, and I said, geez, how did you lose so much weight? He said, I discovered a most remarkable thing. I found that you never gain weight from anything you don't eat. Now, it's the same thing with getting into and out of debt, is you never get into debt from something that you don't spend. And since you are always free to choose, it is you who makes the choices. So if you're in debt because you decided to be in debt, then decide not to be in debt. And just make a decision. From this point onward, you're going to get out of debt. And I've spoken with hundreds, thousands of people who are in debt for years and years, and finally they just laid down the law with themselves, and they made a plan, as we're going to talk about, and they got out of debt, and they stayed out of debt for the rest of their lives, except for maybe a mortgage payment or a car payment. So in this seminar, I'm going to explain to you several practical, proven strategies and techniques that you can use to get out and stay out of debt faster than you may ever have thought possible. And what you begin is with what we call future orientation. All successful people think long-term. All unsuccessful people don't think long-term. And your job is to think long-term with regard to debt. And so what we do is we use what is called idealization. In idealization, you imagine that you can create your own perfect life. You imagine that you can create a life where you are completely out of debt and free of all financial problems and financially independent sometime in the future. So you project forward into the future and you imagine that condition. You create a visual image or picture of yourself in the future exactly the way you want your life to be. And you use what we call the magic wand technique. In the magic wand technique, you imagine you could wave a magic wand and make your financial life perfect in every way. If you could wave a magic wand and make it perfect in every way, number one, how much would you be earning 3 to 5 years from now? Would you like to be earning twice as much or 3 times as much? You know, the simple technique there is find someone else in your field who is earning 2 or 3 times as much as you are, and then ask them what they're doing or do what they do. And the most amazing thing is that you'll start moving toward earning that amount yourself. Question 2 in the magic wand technique is, how much would you be worth if your life was perfect? How much would you have in the bank? How much would you have invested? Today, fully 2/3 of baby boomers are planning to work past the age of 65 and sometimes to the age of 70. Why is this? It's because they're in debt. It's because they never got ahead. So what is happening today, and I began teaching this some years ago, is the importance of your determining what we call your number, the amount that you want to be worth sometime in the future. And I'll talk about this in a couple of minutes. And number 3 is, how much passive income would you like to have each month and each year? In the final analysis, when you look at a company and you look at a company's health, the one number you look at is free cash flow. Now, free cash flow is the amount that you have coming in every month and every year, whether you work or not. And in a business, in an investment, in anything you do in life, this is the number to focus on. How much free cash flow, passive income, would you like to have coming in whether you work or not? Sometimes it's called money in the mailbox. But it's very important that you be clear about this, because the greater clarity you have about this, the faster it is that you hit your number, you hit that target. So always start with your goals, with a clear idea of where you want to be sometime in the future. Question number 1 is, what are your 10 and 20-year financial goals? Now, this is very important because the characteristic of long-time perspective is a quality of superior people. People with long-time perspective project forward 10, 20 years into the future. I've met people at the age of 20 are making plans for when they're 50 and when they're 60. And their lives are totally different from the average person who thinks about the next pay period, the next weekend, or maybe the next month. So what are your 10 and 20-year financial goals? One of your financial goals is to hit your number. And you need to be clear about the number. And then what you do is you take that and let's say that you want to become financially independent, and your idea of financial independence is $1 million. then that becomes your 10 or your 20-year financial goal. Then you ask yourself, what are your 5-year financial goals? In other words, where do you want to be in 5 years? Even better, where do you need to be in 5 years to achieve your 10 and 20-year goals? And number 3 is, what is your 1-year financial goal? Where do you want to be in 12 months? Where do you want to be in 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, and so on? I have people who come up to me and they say, well, I've listened to you and I've decided I want to be a millionaire in 1 year. I had one woman say she wanted to be a billionaire in 1 year. And I said, well, how much are you worth now? Well, I'm not worth anything. Well, what sort of work are you doing? Well, I just got fired for non-performance. So you have no money and you're not very good at what you do and you want to be a billionaire in a year. Oh, yes, well, you said it was possible to set big goals. Yes, but why don't you concentrate on being a 100-aire in a year? How about a 1,000-aire? Concentrate on being worth a net $1,000 with no debts in 1 year. That concentration is realistic, it's achievable, it's something you can target at, and also the exercise of achieving $1,000 will start you off on the course of becoming the kind of person who can save and acquire $10,000 and then even more. But the rule is, the greater clarity you have where you want to be in 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, the greater clarity you have, the faster and with the greater guarantee that you will achieve it. So resolve today. Make a decision to get your finances completely under control, to pay off all your debts, and achieve financial independence. Now, what is the definition of financial independence? I think the best definition is that you have enough money so that you never have to worry about money again. You have enough money so that you never have to work again. You have enough money so that if you want to, you can stop. Now, here's the good news. In the 21st century, you are a knowledge worker. All the other centuries up to now, people were physical workers. They worked with their body and their back. People retired because their bodies, like an old piece of machinery, was worn out, and you had to take it off the line and put it out in the field. But since you work with your brain, the more you work with your brain, the brighter you are, the healthier you are, the more energy you have, the more creative you are. So you will never retire. You will never sit in a rocking chair with a quilt on your lap and drool. You will always be busy and active and doing something, but you want the choice. And the choice means that you have enough money so that you can make that choice. You can do whatever you want, and you never have to worry about money again. So, the way you do this, starting point of getting out of debt, is to develop really good, clear, long-term thinking. And you begin with a calculation. And you calculate your month could you survive and maintain your current lifestyle if you had no income. And it's a very embarrassing question because for the average person it's less than 2 months. So for some people it's less than a month. For some people, if they lost their job, they'd be desperate immediately. They say that most wealthy Americans are only 2 months away from homelessness. If they have high income, as they say in Texas, big cat, no cattle, is they have high income but they have no assets, and if they lost their job and their income was cut off, they wouldn't be able to make their mortgage payments within 60 days. So ask yourself, what would be your monthly expenses? And you sit down and you say, what is my rent? What are my car payments? What are my food, entertainment, clothing, health, and everything else? How much does it cost you to live on a monthly basis? Then you take that number and you multiply that monthly number by 12. And this will tell you how much it will cost you to live for a year. And you keep asking yourself, based on what I have, how long could I survive? And then you take your annual financial requirement and you multiply that times 20. Now the reason for that is because that will give you your number. That will give you your lifetime goal, at least at your current standard of living. So let us say you take $5,000 a month is what you would need net to support your current lifestyle. Multiply it times 12, it's $60,000. Multiply it times 20, it's $1.2 million. With $1.2 million, you could draw down $5,000 a month forever and never go broke. You would have enough to support your current lifestyle for the rest of your life. The market could go up and the market could go down or sideways, but you never have to worry about money again. Now here's an important point. You're probably going to live to be 85 or 90. The current lifespan today in North America is about 80 years, 79 to 80 years, depending on whether you're male or female. And it's going up every year with new discoveries in health. Since you are a cut above, you know more about health than the average person, if that's the average, 80, you're going to beat the average. you're going to hit 85, 90, 95, 98, 99. It's really quite astonishing how long you're probably going to live. And so you want to be sure that you have enough money to support a long period of time after you quit working. That's why you want 20 years socked away, so you never have to worry. Now, the way that you start is you do a financial analysis. You prepare a personal balance sheet to determine your current assets, liabilities, and net worth. If you've ever gone to the bank to borrow money to buy a house or buy a car, they make you fill out a financial statement. In fact, a really good exercise is to drop by your bank and pick up a financial analysis form and then go and fill it out. And you'll find that these financial analysis forms are developed by people with very cold hearts. In other words, there's no fluff in there. You can't write down my furniture is worth this and my stamp collection is worth that and my carpets are worth this and so on. No. They want to know exactly what you have in terms of cash and exactly the cash value if you had to sell it at a garage sale. So what you have to do is be really honest when you do an analysis of your net worth. How much are you really worth today? So you add up all of your assets, everything that you have owned in the world, and you come up to a total. And your total may be high, may be low. The average 40-year-old in America has a net worth of less than $40,000. What that means is, if the average 40-year-old has been working for 20 years, they've made about $2,000 a year after expenses. Now, the average person works about 2,000 hours a year, so that means they've made about $1 an hour after expenses. Here's an interesting question I sometimes ask my audiences. I say, would you come and work for me for $1 an hour plus room and board? And everybody says, no, you must be kidding. $1 an hour plus room and board? What do you think I am? I say, well, if you're saving $2,000 a year, which is high for most people, you're working for $1 an hour plus room and board. We call room and board lifestyle costs or lifestyle expenses. You're working for $1 an hour plus lifestyle. Is that a good deal? I don't think so. So make a list of all your assets and their cash value and add it up. Then you make a second list, and the list is all your debts. And you start off with your mortgage, how much you owe on your mortgage, and your payments. And you list all your credit cards, how much you owe on your credit cards, and your minimum monthly payments. You list your bank loans for your car, your boat, anything else. But be really honest with yourself. When you do this exercise, be really hard on yourself. Be hard with regard to what is really an asset, and be really clear about your debts. You see, more than 90%, maybe 95% of adults have never done this. If you ask a person, how much do you have, how much do you owe, how much are you worth, they say, oh, roughly this. And what they found when they interview 50-year-olds, people who are moving toward retirement, what's your financial situation? They say, oh, it's this or that. They say, well, let's sit down and do an analysis. And most of them, 3/4 are completely out. They had no idea how little they had. They had no idea how much they owed. They had no idea how far away they were from the number at which they could retire. So you deduct your debts from your assets to get your net worth, positive or negative today. Now remember, it's sort of like if you want to lose weight, you stand on the scale and you find out how much you weigh now. And it's neither good nor bad. It's just where you are today. And probably today you're underwater, as they say. You're in debt. You owe more than you have. But that's okay. As long as you're honest about the figure, this is your starting point. This is where we work from. If you're overweight, this is where we start from. This is where we work from. Okay? Now, the way that you start is you do a financial analysis. You prepare a personal balance sheet to determine your current assets, liabilities, and net worth. If you've ever gone to the bank to borrow money to buy a house or buy a car, they make you fill out a financial statement. In fact, a really good exercise is to drop by your bank and pick up a financial analysis form and then go and fill it out. And you'll find that these financial analysis forms are developed by people with very cold hearts. In other words, there's no fluff in there. You can't write down my furniture is worth this and my stamp collection is worth that and my carpets are worth this and so on. No. They want to know exactly what you have in terms of cash and exactly the cash value if you had to sell it at a garage sale. So what you have to do is be really honest when you do an analysis of your net worth. How much are you really worth today? So you add up all of your assets, everything that you have owned in the world, and you come up to a total. And your total may be high, may be low. The average 40-year-old in America has a net worth of less than $40,000. What that means is, if the average 40-year-old has been working for 20 years, they've made about $2,000 a year after expenses. Now, the average person works about 2,000 hours a year, so that means they've made about $1 an hour after expenses. Here's an interesting question I sometimes ask my audiences. I say, would you come and work for me for $1 an hour plus room and board? And everybody says, no, you must be kidding. $1 an hour plus room and board? What do you think I am? I say, well, if you're saving $2,000 a year, which is high for most people, you're working for $1 an hour plus room and board. We call room and board lifestyle costs or lifestyle expenses. You're working for $1 an hour plus lifestyle. Is that a good deal? I don't think so. So make a list of all your assets and their cash value and add it up. Then you make a second list, and the list is all your debts. And you start off with your mortgage, how much you owe on your mortgage, and your payments. And you list all your credit cards, how much you owe on your credit cards, and your minimum monthly payments. You list your bank loans for your car, your boat, anything else. But be really honest with yourself. When you do this exercise, be really hard on yourself. Be hard with regard to what is really an asset, and be really clear about your debts. You see, more than 90%, maybe 95% of adults have never done this. If you ask a person, how much do you have, how much do you owe, how much are you worth, they say, oh, roughly this. And what they found when they interview 50-year-olds, people who are moving toward retirement, what's your financial situation? They say, oh, it's this or that. They say, well, let's sit down and do an analysis. And most of them, 3/4 are completely out. They had no idea how little they had. They had no idea how much they owed. They had no idea how far away they were from the number at which they could retire. So you deduct your debts from your assets to get your net worth, positive or negative today. Now remember, it's sort of like if you want to lose weight, you stand on the scale and you find out how much you weigh now. And it's neither good nor bad. It's just where you are today. And probably today you're underwater, as they say. You're in debt. You owe more than you have. But that's okay. As long as you're honest about the figure, this is your starting point. This is where we work from. If you're overweight, this is where we start from. This is where we work from. Okay? So here's a question, and this is really important to ask and answer. Why do people spend too much and get into debt? You must be aware of these factors if you're going to get out and stay out. Number one, perhaps the greatest killer of success is called the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is a curse to all of us. We all have it. It's the natural tendency to do what is fun and easy throughout life. It's the natural tendency to seek immediate gratification. It's the natural tendency to do things without thinking about them very much. And so we always follow that path of least resistance, and that leads us into debt. And it's sort of like when you do something initially, it's a little bit hard, but as you do it over and over again, it becomes easier and easier. It's the same thing with the path of least resistance. So you have to fight against it all the time. You have to practice self-discipline. You have to hold yourself back from this all the time. This is why self-control is the mark of the superior person. Superior people practice very high levels of self-control, self-mastery, self-discipline, and children don't. And many adults, most adults who are in financial trouble, have a problem with control, which we'll talk about in a minute. The second reason why people spend too much and get into debt is easy credit. But it's possible today to get credit cards, credit accounts, easy financing for almost anything. You've heard the stories of dogs who get credit cards in the mail, babies who get credit cards in the mail. Because the credit card companies charge so much in interest, they can spread a lot of credit cards out there. And there is a great conspiracy out there to get you into debt and to keep you into debt. You know, if you were to have a credit card with $2,000 indebtedness on it, and all you did was make the minimum payments on it for the indefinite future, it would take you years to pay off that $2,000 because those credit card charges are so high. So easy credit is a real problem, and what you have to do is resist it. And the way path of least resistance, it's the inability to practice self-discipline and the desire for immediate gratification. We see something we like, we buy. We like, we buy. We like, we buy. We buy it impatiently. We want to have the satisfaction right now. The fourth reason that people get into debt is impulsiveness, which comes right from impatience. It's the tendency to buy things quickly without enough thought or research. Have you ever bought something and then found later you could have bought it cheaper, or you could have gotten better terms or a better deal, or even worse, you thought about it for a while and you realized you didn't even need it, or it wasn't even better than what you replaced it with? And why? The reason is because you didn't think about it long enough and hard enough before you bought it. Now the fifth, the worst of all, is childhood conditioning. Remember, everything we do on the outside is a result of our habits, our conditioning, our previous experiences, especially with regard to money and spending. You associate spending money and buying things with pleasure. And you know, human beings always tend to move from discomfort toward comfort. They move away from pain toward pleasure. Human beings are like guided missiles. They are pleasure-seeking organisms. We constantly seek pleasure of all kinds. When you're a child, something happens. You get your first money, whether it's an allowance or a gift from your grandmother or so on. And what we do is we associate getting a gift of money with buying candy, buying something sweet, buying something delicious, buying something that makes us happy. And so at a very early age, we associate getting money with spending it on something that makes us happy and makes us as happy as possible as soon as possible. So now you grow up and now you're an adult. And if you ask a person, what would you do if you won $1 million? And I do this in my courses. They immediately list all the things they'd run out and buy. Some of them say, if I won $1 million, I'd give a whole bunch of it away to people who are less fortunate. Well, excuse me, sir. You're less fortunate. You're a person with no money. Don't run out and give it all away. They would buy a house, a home, a car, take a trip, buy clothes, give it to friends. I mean, what would happen was they would blow the money if they won it. Do you know that 2/3 of people who win the lottery are broke within 3 years? And they're in worse situation, worse condition, divorced, alcoholic, overweight. They're in worse situation than they were when they won the money. And they say, winning that money was the biggest curse of my life because they had gotten too much money before they were capable of handling it. So childhood conditioning comes from buying things, and here is the reality. The pleasure from buying things is short, fleeting, and momentary. It goes away very fast. You buy a brand new car. You're happy as can be. You drive it home, and you come into the house, and you turn on the television, and you immediately forget about the car. Or you have dinner and you start talking about work and you immediately forget about the car. All the pleasure and joy about that car is gone. You buy a new outfit, beautiful clothes, wear them once, take them home, hang them up, get busy doing something else, and forget about it completely. It's an interesting thing is that if you decide not to buy something and walk away from it, you forget about the object almost instantly. Almost like if you turn your eyes away from it, all the potential pleasure from the object disappears on you quickly. So that's why things don't give us pleasure. What really gives us pleasure is time with the people we care about, associations, relationships, things that move us emotionally, and there is no emotion in things. So, the key to getting out of debt, and this is based on years and years of psychological research, is you have to rewire and reprogram yourself with regard to money. In other words, you have to go into your subconscious mind and take the wires, the wire that says, I love spending money, and change it with the wire that says, I love saving money. So from then on, when you think of money, immediately the light goes off and you think, I like saving money, rather than, I can hardly wait to spend it. So you keep saying to yourself, I like saving money. Saving money makes me happy. Having money in the bank makes me happy. Spending money makes me sad. I don't like spending money. I don't like getting rid of money. I don't like not having money. I don't like being in debt. Because I promise you, when you reach the point where there's a negative association with spending money, you'll start to save it and you'll start to feel happy when you save your money. When you look at your bank statement, you go onto the internet and check your bank statement, you see the money growing, and it'll make you happy. It'll make you beam, because it's not the money. It's the peace of mind, it's the security, it's the feeling of happiness you have when you know that you have more than it's costing you to live. Now this brings us to Abraham Maslow's work on motivation. And what he found is the deepest emotional needs of all are for safety and security. And having money saved and invested gives you a deep down sense of safety and security. It gives you a deep down sense of peace of mind, confidence, and calmness. Being broke and in debt, on the other hand, makes you feel insecure, makes you feel nervous, makes you feel inferior, tense, worried. Have you ever had the experience of going out with people who are doing really well, they got lots of money, they buy whatever they want, and you're poor, you're broke, you're rubbing your quarters together in your pocket, and you notice how you feel inferior to them? You feel like they're better than you. You feel like you're worse than they are. You feel a little bit uncomfortable. And when they laugh and talk about the money they made and the trip they took and the new car they bought, you feel kind of crummy. I know, I had that when I was young. And people say, you want to go out for lunch? And you're really nervous because you couldn't pay. You don't have the money to pay for lunch. Or you do go out for lunch and you say, well, let's everybody pay their own. And you just have a sandwich or a cheap salad. But when you have money, you feel as good as they do. You feel like an equal. You feel excellent. You feel like one of them. So here are the 3 keys to reprogramming yourself. First of all, verbalize. In other words, put it into words. And say this with passion. Say, I love to save money and watch it grow. I love to save money and watch it grow. And then you visualize. See yourself as financially independent. So imagine that you're already financially independent. Get a picture in your mind of yourself as calm, confident, warm, friendly, because you're rich now. You've got lots of money. Remember, all improvement in your outside life begins with an improvement in your mental pictures, especially your mental pictures of health, wealth, happiness, prosperity, and so on. And then the third part of reprogramming your mind is for you to emotionalize. And when you emotionalize, what you do is you create the feeling of being rich. You say, if I was rich, how would I feel? If I was rich, would I feel confident and happy? Would I be cheerful? Would I be optimistic and outgoing? How would you feel if you were rich? And what you do is you connect the emotion to the picture of being financially independent, to the words, I love to save money and watch it grow. And then whenever you think about money, over time, immediately you trigger that positive feeling of happiness at saving money. How do we know this is true? Because it's true for all self-made millionaires. Every self-made millionaire has programmed themselves to enjoy the idea of being financially independent, to having money and watch it grow. So in getting out of debt, the first thing you do is you track your expenses carefully. Number 1, you make a list of every expense you have every month. Your home, your car, your clothing, your food, entertainment, utilities, medical, gas, everything that you spend every month. And be honest. And then what you do is you take your entire total and you gross it up by 10% for unexpected expenses. And that's the amount that it costs you to live every month. And be honest. Don't delete things. Put them all in there. Do you like to get a $4 or $5 extra Frappuccino latte at Starbucks every day? Good. Put it in there. For Starbucks, $25 a week. Do you park in a parking garage that costs you a certain amount? Put it in there. Do you go to movies? Do you buy popcorn? Put it in there. Be really honest with yourself. Then, number 2, make a list of every debt you have and the required monthly payment. And add them all up. How much do you absolutely positively have to pay every month? Number 3 is resolve to reduce, control, cut, and minimize your expenses so that you're earning a profit every month. See yourself as a business. A business has profit and losses. At the end of the month, they add up and they tell you, did you make a profit or a loss this last month? Your job is to make a profit. Your job is to make a positive return on your work. So if you're making $3,000 a month, make a decision to make a 10 or 20% profit each month, rather than spending it all and a little bit more besides. Now, the 4th key to getting out of debt is to create a monthly budget based on your income, your expenditures, and your profit desire, your profit goal, and then stick to your budget. The interesting thing is the very act of writing out a budget makes it 10 times more likely you'll get your spending under control. All people whose finances are out of control have no budget, which means they just spend extemporaneously, impulsively, impatiently. They don't think because they're not working from a budget. Now, when a company starts off, it starts off usually on the back of an envelope by the seat of the pants of the entrepreneur. At the end of the month, they add everything up to see if they made any money. But as a company starts to grow, the first thing it retains is a full-time accountant. And the accountant's job is to sit down and draw up budgets for the year, and then for every month, and for every expense, then for every piece of revenue or part of revenue that the company generates. And then every month, the owners of the company sit down and they analyze, is what were our projected sales? What were our actual sales? For you, you say, what was my projected income? What was my actual income? Then you look at your budget, say, what were my projected expenses? And what did I actually spend? Then you look at your bottom line. What was my projected profit? And what did I actually make or lose as a result of the month? If you do this on a regular basis, you'll become more and more thoughtful about every penny, and very quickly you get your expenses under control. Now, the fifth key to tracking is to get a notebook, a little spiral notebook that fits in your pocket or purse, and carry it and write down every cent you spend during the day. Do you buy a coffee? Write it down. Do you pay for a parking space? Write it down. And do you buy a shirt or a briefcase? Write it down. Do you fill up your tank? Write it down. Make a note every single day, write it down, even if it's a postage stamp. Just keep track of it. The keeping track of it starts to make you a better thinker, starts to make you more intelligent and thoughtful about money. It starts to put the brake on impulsiveness and impatience, and it makes it clear to you where your money is going. And surprise, surprise, the more you note your expenditures, the more you get your money under control, the less money that you actually spend. Now, point 6 is get rid of all your credit cards except 1 or 2. Cut them up. Cut them in half. Remember, credit cards are a terrible thing. I'll give you an example. I have several credit cards because I have business credit cards, personal credit cards, and I travel overseas. But sometimes people send me credit cards, and often I don't even activate them. And yet it goes down onto a list that the credit card was sent to me. And my wife has found an interesting thing about credit cards is we pay off every credit card every month. And we pay off and send the bills in 7 days in advance or more. And yet, my wife keeps getting dunning notices with fines and penalties of $50, $75 on credit cards. Well, then she calls up the credit card company. She says, what's going on? I paid this 7 days ago, and I paid it electronically. I paid it by computer, so it's an instant payment. They said, well, if you will look at your agreement, you will find that we have the right to credit your payment when we feel like it. He said, what? And we decided to credit your payment after the due date, so you have to pay fines and penalties, extra interest charges. What? This is standard with credit cards. So even if you pay your credit card in full in advance, you know what they'll do? They'll dung you $75. It's the most amazing darn thing, and it is $1 billion business with credit cards. Credit cards are not good for you. So I say keep 2 credit cards. Keep one for business, one for personal expenses. Keep an American Express, which will get you in anywhere. Keep a Visa, MasterCard, something like that. And cut up all the rest of them. Number 7 is make a plan to reduce your monthly expenses by at least 10%. However much you're spending, let's say you're buying 5 coffees a week, make a plan to reduce it down to 4 coffees a week. 1 day a week you don't have coffee. It doesn't seem like very much, but when you make a decision to cut your expenses by 10%, you'll be amazed at how you start to get your spending under control. Then, point number 8 is use this money that you're saving to start paying off your debts, starting with the highest interest rate debt first. You always pay the debt that pays the highest interest rate, and you take every penny you get and you put it against that debt. Number 9 is resolve to pay cash for everything from now on. When you pay cash, you'll be amazed at how much better a spender you are. You see, when you're using credit cards or credit, it doesn't seem like real money. You're saying, like, you're going to pay with that with cash or plastic? I'll pay with it with plastic. Like it's not even money. And you know that 2 or 3 million people a year in America go bankrupt because of credit card debt? Because it didn't really seem like money, and now it's running at 18, 20, 24% interest, and it's growing at an incredible rate, and you can't catch up, and they just literally go bankrupt. By the way, some people think, well, what about going bankrupt? No. When you go bankrupt, it follows you for 10 years. When you go bankrupt, it ruins your credit for 10 years. Don't let anybody tell you can go bankrupt and start over again the next day and so on. No. Bankruptcy is a terrible thing. It's like an amputation. Only in this case, after 10 years, it grows back. Don't think about bankruptcy. Do anything possible to avoid bankruptcy. Settle, pay minimum payments, discipline yourself, But bankruptcy is not a place you want to go. Number 10, in tracking your expenses, is sit down and analyze your financial situation each weekend. Each weekend on Sunday, sit down and look at your money. Look at your bank accounts, look at your bills, look at your checkbook. Balance your checkbook, balance your bank account, and every week do a sort of a financial statement and analyze, where am I today? How much do I have? How much do I owe? How much do I have in the bank? What is my situation? The very act of doing this, 1 or 2 hours every Saturday or Sunday, is going to get you out of debt. You're going to get smarter and sharper about money. Here's 3 secrets of self-made millionaires, by the way. And what we know about self-made millionaires is what? Is they're self-made. That means they started off and they made all their money in one generation. And your job is to become a self-made millionaire. So here's the 3 considerations. Number 1, they put financial independence above all other financial considerations. Whenever they're thinking of spending money, making money, investing money, interest rates, they think, is this going to help me to become financially independent or not? And if it's not, they don't do it. They never buy new cars, by the way. Why? Because if you buy a new car, you're paying $10,000, $20,000 in depreciation just for the pleasure of driving it off the lot the first time. Instead, they buy cars that are 2 or 3 years old, that are still under warranty, and that are in excellent condition. And then they drive them for 5 or 10 years until the wheels fall off. And all the money that the average person is spending and buying a new car every couple of years, they save and invest. And that alone can make you financially independent. Number 2, self-made millionaires practice frugality, frugality, frugality with every expenditure. They're adamant about saving money. They do everything on the cheap. They spend the first 20 years of their earning life being cheap, cheap, cheap. And then they save and invest the money. By the time they're 45, they're millionaires. And now they can do the things they want to do. And now they can travel. And now they can provide things for their family. But they practice frugality until they reach the magic millionaire mark. And finally, number 3, they spend 10 to 20 hours each month studying their money and how to invest it and grow it. They read books on financial independence. They study investments carefully. They talk to people. They attend seminars. They listen to audio programs. They take money seriously, and they become very knowledgeable and skilled in the business of money. They become knowledgeable and skilled in how to deploy their funds even when they don't have much money. As a result, they make much better decisions. They seldom ever lose money. Their money grows safely and at a good solid rate. And sometimes people making $30,000, $35,000 a year end up as millionaires by the time they're 50 just because they invested their money so carefully. Now here's a final rule with regard to self-made millionaires, and it's this. The rule is that you become what you think about most of the time. The more you think about something, the more it comes into your life. The average person thinks about their money about 1 or 2 hours a month. And it's usually at the end of the month when they're paying checks, they're paying bills, and they're looking at how little they have. The average self-made millionaire spends 10 to 20 hours a month studying their money. They spend 10 to 20 times as much as the average person, and as a result, they make far better decisions. They never get into debt. If they do get into debt, they get out of debt quickly, and they become millionaires by the time they're 40 or 50 years old. And this must be your goal as well. Now here are some key principles for getting out of debt. Number 1, pay yourself first. This is the great rule of financial success. It's the basis of The Richest Man in Babylon, one of the best-selling books in history. And basically it says that the average person earns a living, takes their paycheck, pays all their bills, spends all their money, and whatever's left over, they save. But pay yourself first means you flip it over, and what you do is you take the first money out of your paycheck and save it before your expenditures. This attitude towards your money can change your life completely. Your goal is to save 10 to 20% of your income off the top, and even more over time. And then make a habit of living on the other 80 to 90%. Remember, whatever you do repeatedly becomes a habit, and you become comfortable doing it. Sometimes I say to my audiences, if I could wave a magic wand and double your income, would that take care of your financial problems? Would that get you out of debt? And everybody says, yes. What if I triple your income? Yes, yes, yes. What if I increase your income 4 or 5 times? Yes, yes, yes. And then I say, well, how many people here from the time you took your first job to today have already doubled your income? Hands go up, the whole audience. Triple, quadruple, 5 times, 10 times. You see, you're still in debt. Increasing your income does not solve your financial problems. only getting your finances under control, which means paying yourself first. Now, let's say that you are overwhelmed with expenditures today, and the idea of saving 10 or 20% is too much. Then principle number 2 is start with $130 a month. That's $1 a day. If somebody put a gun to your head, if your life depended upon it, if your financial future depended upon it, okay, I can't save 10%, but I can save $1 a day. And what you do is you go down immediately to your bank and you open a separate bank account. And this is your financial freedom account. And you can open it with $10 or $20. And from now on, you deposit your savings in this account. You save $1 a day, and at the end of the month you go down and you put in $30. Put every unexpected amount in this account. Sometimes you'll sell something, get a tax refund, somebody will pay you back. Whatever you do with that money, don't rush out and spend it like little children buying candy. Instead, put it into your financial freedom account. Once the money goes into this account, you never take it out. This is not a savings account to buy a house or a car or a boat or a vacation. This is your financial freedom account. Money only goes one way in this account. It goes in. It never goes out except to be carefully invested where it can get the very best return. Now, the third key principle in getting out of debt is to activate the laws of accumulation and attraction. Here's what will happen. As you put money into this account, it will act like a magnet and it will start to attract more and more money. The law of accumulation says that every great accomplishment in life is an accumulation of many small accomplishments. Every great financial fortune is an accumulation of many, many small amounts of money which accumulated come together to make you financially independent. The law of attraction says that when you put money into an account, it starts to attract more money into your life. If you start to attract more money into your life, keep putting it into this account. The more money in this account, the more money will be attracted to you. Now, people say, well, if I put $30 a month in the account, how much will I have at the end of the year? $30 times 12, $360. No, you will be astonished at how much you have. You'll have $500 or $800 or $1,000 or $2,000. You will be astonished at where this money comes from over time. But you have to start. Now, let me tell you a quick story. When we started off our business many years ago, I often joke I learned how to sell again when I started my own business. I sold my house, I sold my car, I sold my furniture, I sold everything to stay alive. And at a certain point, we were able to sell our house, and we had $10,000 left over. And my wife said, I want to put that in a separate account. Well, I said, all right. So she put it in a separate bank account that I didn't even have access to, and just let it sit there at the highest rate of interest possible. And you know something? We never had financial problems again. For some reason, that $10,000 sitting there acted like a magnet, and we solved all our financial problems. It was the most miraculous thing. I still look back and remember that from that day forward, once we had a financial freedom account that we never touched, money just seemed to materialize. We seemed to do better in our business, make more profit. Soon we could buy a new house and new cars and travel. It was the most amazing darn thing. So the more money you put into this financial freedom account, the more magnetism it has, and the more money it will draw into your life. Now, the fourth principle for getting out of debt is to delay, defer, and put off every expenditure that you possibly can. At the very least, give yourself 24 hours before you buy anything that costs a significant amount of money. Even better, take a weekend to decide, or even a month before you make a major buying decision. You'll be absolutely astonished. The more time you take to decide, the better decision you will make. In fact, in most cases, if you give yourself time to think about a purchase, you won't make the purchase at all. You'll understand, you'll realize that it's not necessary to make the purchase, that there are better things you can do with the money, that you don't really need it. And besides, if you don't act impulsively, you'll find that the purchase of whatever it is contains no emotion, no joy, no excitement. In other words, you forget about it. Now, number 5, and this is very important, this is what will make you rich, is break Parkinson's law. Now, Parkinson's law, you've heard about, says that expenses rise to meet income. What Parkinson's law says is no matter how much you make, you seem to spend that much and a little bit more besides. So throughout your life, if you double or triple or quadruple your income, you'll double or triple or quadruple your expenses, and you just simply never get ahead. So, this is Parkinson's law, and your job is to break Parkinson's law and to resist the natural tendency to increase your expenditure as your income goes up over time. And what you do is you practice what is called number 6, the wedge formula for financial independence. Now the wedge formula says that as your income goes up, your expenses go up. So from this point forward, what you do is you make a decision to drive a wedge between your increasing income over the months and years and your increasing expenditures. And you spend only 50% of your increased income on lifestyle, and you save the other 50%. If you do this, the most remarkable things will happen. Let's say in the course of the coming year, your income goes up by $1,000. Well, instead of spending $1,000 more on entertainment, travel, clothes, and so on, what you do is you resolve in advance to save $500 of that into your financial freedom account and spend only $500 or less. Once you make a habit of this, you'll become quite comfortable living on the remaining amount. Just like if you start with 1% and you live on the other 99%, soon you become comfortable. Then you raise it to 2% and live on the other 98%, then 3% and live on the other 97%. Within a year, you'll be quite comfortably living on 80 or 90% of your income and quite happily saving and investing the balance. It's hard, when I say you should cut back on your expenditures. It's hard to do that because it's part of your lifestyle, but it's not hard for you to promise now to save future increases. Anybody can promise to save money that they don't have. And if you'll just do that, you'll become financially independent. Remember, the best earning years of your life lie ahead. You're going to earn more money in the years ahead than you earned in your entire life. If you just save half of the increase over your current income and let it grow with the miracle of compound interest, that will get you out of debt and make you financially independent. Now 7, open separate bank accounts for your home, your new home that you want to buy, car, boat, debt reduction, and so on. The rule is spend all of your money to get out of debt until you're back to zero. And then you open separate bank accounts, one for financial freedom that you keep putting 10% or more into, and then you open another bank account if you want to buy a boat, and another bank account if you want to buy a car. In other words, you have separate buckets for your expenditures. Your job is to move money around between these buckets. Your main bucket is for savings to cover your expenditures if you lose your job. Your second bucket is for investments. Your third bucket is for the things that you want to buy. As your savings bucket fills up and your debts disappear, you then convert that money into your second bucket, your investment bucket, and carefully allocate your money in index-based mutual funds, money market accounts, safe investments. Don't speculate, don't gamble. It's too hard to earn the money. And the wonderful thing is that over time, by moving your money around with these buckets, you'll get out of debt. You'll end up spending and living on 60-70% of your income and saving, investing, and improving your lifestyle with the balance. Now, in getting out of debt, one of the most powerful things you do is to increase your income. Sometimes we ask this question, what is your most valuable financial asset? And the answer is not your bank account, not your house, not your car, not your savings. Your most valuable financial asset is your earning ability. It's your ability to earn money. Your ability to earn money can pump tens of thousands of dollars a year into your life. You could lose your bank account, your investments, your home. You could lose everything and be penniless. But as long as you still have your earning ability, those tools and techniques and methods between your ears, you can earn a wonderful living and earn it all back again. And most people take their earning ability for granted. They don't realize that it can be an appreciating asset, which means you can make it grow rapidly in value, or it can be a depreciating asset. You can actually lose your earning ability by not constantly working on it, just like physical fitness. Here's another question. Would you like to double your income? Now, whenever I ask that question, everybody says yes. Well, I have some good news for you. You are going to double your income. It's inevitable. The average income in America, average income in the industrialized world, increases at about 3% per annum. So with compound interest, if your income goes up at 3% per annum, you will double it in 22 years. Is that what you had in mind? The answer, of course, is no. You want to double it sooner. However, if you work on increasing your earning ability by constantly investing in yourself, your income will go up at 10, 15, 20, 25% per annum. At 25% per annum, you'll double your income in 2 years and 7 months. And once you've doubled your income, double it again. So here's the turning point in your life. Resolve today to be the best in your field. Join the top 10%. Join the highest money earners in your field and earn the same money that they do. And remember this, everyone in the top 10% started in the bottom 10%, and then they made a decision. And what others have done, you can do as well. The key is to commit to excellence in your chosen field, one skill at a time. And this brings us to what is called the Law of Three. And the Law of Three says that 90% of the value of your contribution, your earning ability, is contained in three things that you do at your job. There's just three things. For example, if you're in selling, the three things that you do that contribute 90% of your income are prospecting, presenting, and closing. Whenever you're having a problem in sales, it's always because of prospecting, presenting, or closing. What you do is you take a look and say, which of those skills am I the weakest at? And that's the one you go to work on. Always ask yourself, what are the three most valuable things that you do? If you're in management, the three most important things you do are to recruit, train, and manage. Recruit the best people, train them thoroughly, manage them carefully. What are the most important things you do? And remember this, and this is the great breakthrough, is your weakest key skill sets the height of your income. Your weakest key skill sets the height of your earning ability. So ask this question. What one skill, if you were absolutely excellent at it, would help you the most to double your income, double your earning ability, double your value? If you could wave a magic wand, what one skill, if you're absolutely excellent at it, would help you the most to double your income, double your earning ability, and double your value to yourself and your company? Whatever it is, set this one skill as a goal. Write it down. Make a plan. Make a list of everything that you could do to master this skill, and then work on this skill by becoming a little bit better every day. Remember, all business skills are learnable. All sales skills are learnable. All entrepreneurial skills are learnable. All money-making skills are learnable. Everyone who is good at them today at one time didn't know how to do them at all. And you could be only one skill away from doubling your income, and you probably are, and you probably know what that one skill is. So keep asking, what one skill would help you the most? And even if you don't like the skill, even if you're not comfortable with the skill, set it as a goal, make a plan, work on it every day. And here's my promise. A month, a year from now, you'll look back and you'll have mastered the skill. People will be asking you for advice. You'll be doing it so well that you'll be sort of happy about it. And once you've mastered that key skill, what do you do then? Well, what you do is you say, now what one skill, if I was absolutely excellent at it, would help me the most? And you write it down, make a plan, and go to work on it every day. And for the rest of your life, become a do-it-to-yourself project. For the rest of your life, concentrate on the one skill that can increase your earning ability faster than any other skill. So you're always working on getting better. Remember, as Pat Riley, the basketball coach, said, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. In other words, nobody is staying the same. Dedicate yourself to lifelong learning, lifelong personal and professional development. There's three keys to lifelong learning. These three keys changed my life when I was in my 20s, and I never looked back. Number one, read 30 to 60 minutes in your field each day. The average adult reads less than one nonfiction book each year, one book that would help them in their life or their career. If you read 30 to 60 minutes in your field each day, you'll read one book a week. One book a week will be 50 books a year. If you went to a leading university and you wanted to get a PhD, you'd have to read about 30 to 50 books and summarize them into a dissertation, and then you'd become a doctorate. You'd become one of the highest paid or most respected people in that field. You can get a doctorate in sales, a doctorate in business management, a doctorate in sales management, a doctorate in money making each year by simply reading 30 to 50 books that will help you in your field. If you read 50 books a year, that's 500 books in 10 years. At the very least, you need a bigger house just to hold your books. Number two, listen to educational audio programs in your car. This is one of the most fabulous parts of lifelong learning. Audio listening has been considered to be the biggest breakthrough in education since the invention of the printing press. By listening to audio programs in your car, each good audio program has the distilled wisdom of 30 to 50 books. You can get so many valuable ideas, and you can start them and stop them and turn them off and run them back and repeat them at your convenience. Imagine hiring one of the highest paid professional speakers or experts in the country to drive around with you and give you advice all day long, and wait in your car when you went into meetings, and sit in your car overnight while you went in and spent dinner with your family. Imagine if you could hire these people to drive around with you and give you advice. It would be priceless, and yet by listening to the audio programs of top people, you're hiring these people to sit there and talk to you at your convenience, to stop talking when you want to think, to start talking again when you push the button, and so on. The average person drives 500 to 1,000 hours per year. That's the equivalent of 12 to 25 40-hour weeks. That's the equivalent of 1 to 2 full-time university semesters. So make your car into a university on wheels, a mobile classroom, and always be learning while your wheels are turning. That alone can make you rich. And number 3, attend every course and seminar, live and online, that can help you to improve your earning ability. Some of the finest programs in the world are now available to you at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere, a mouse click away. You can learn from the finest experts in the world, and you can learn the most important subjects you need to know to develop the critical skills you need to have to dramatically increase your earning ability. Go to seminars given by experts. Sit up front. Take notes. Ask questions at the breaks. One day with an expert in your field has changed the lives of many people, and it can change your life as well. Don't be cheap on your education. The rule is spend at least 3% of your income investing back into yourself in becoming better. They did a study in New York a few years ago, and they asked about 1,000 very smart people, successful people, business people, academic leaders, and so on, if you had managed to accumulate $100,000 from your work in your field, what would be the best place to invest it? And you know what the answer came back as? The best place to invest it would be back into learning how to become better at what you did in the first place to earn the money. And that is the truth. If you had $100,000, the very best investment of all is not penny stocks or something else. It's to invest it in yourself, in becoming really, really good at what you do, invest it in your earning ability and getting into the top 10% of people in your field. Now the key is, to be successful, do fewer things, but do more valuable things. And do them more often and get better. Do fewer things. Remember, you'll never be able to do everything that you have to do. So instead of trying to do more things, do fewer things, but do more valuable things. And do them more often, spend more time on the most valuable things that you do, and get better and better at those skills that will give you a higher payoff in your life than simply getting better at what you do most of the time. So here's a summary. Here are the 10 keys to getting out of debt and achieving financial independence. Number 1, set clear written goals for every part of your financial life. Think on paper. Think on paper. Think on paper. The very fact that you have clear written goals and plans will increase the likelihood of you achieving those goals and plans by about 10 times. The power of the written goal is unbelievable. Number 2, do a complete financial analysis of your financial situation today. Sit down with a piece of paper, add it all up, figure out what you're worth, figure out your debts, figure out your minimum payments, figure out how much you're earning. Be really, really brutally honest with yourself so you have a very clear picture of where you are today relative to where you want to be in the future. Number 3, draw up a monthly and annual budget and stick to it. Determine exactly how much you're going to spend on your residence, your home, your car, your entertainment, your food, your clothing, and so on, and stick to that budget. Every week, every month, sit down and look at your expenditures and make sure that you're not exceeding your expenditures in any area. W. Clement Stone once said, "If you cannot save money, the seeds of greatness are not in you." Number 4, cut back eating out. Can you cut back on gardening services? Can you cut back on your mortgage? Can you accelerate your payments? Can you move to a less expensive place? In other words, always be looking for ways to cut your costs. Number 5, pay yourself first. Save 1% off the top of your income and put it into a financial freedom account until you're comfortable living on 99%. Then start to save 2%, 5%, 10%, and eventually get to the point where you're saving 20% and 30% of your income and living comfortably with no diminution of your lifestyle on the balance. Remember, you are a creature of habit. Get into the habit of living on less than you earn. Number 6, practice the wedge formula for success and save or invest 50% of every increase in your income from now on. Every time you get an increase, put it away. Save or invest that amount. Pretty soon you'll find yourself living on 70%, 60%, even 50% of your income, saving and investing the balance, and moving rapidly toward financial independence. Number 7, open a financial it begins to accumulate over time. Number 8, dedicate yourself to lifelong learning. Resolve to be the best at what you do. Resolve to join the top 10% in your field. Whether it takes you a year or 2 years or 5 years, all the riches and rewards and happiness and respect and esteem go to the people who are good at what they do. Pay any price, invest any amount of money, invest any amount of time, but resolve to get into the top 10%. The top 10% are the happiest and most successful and highest paid people in every field. Number 9, continually visualize yourself as debt-free and financially independent. Say to yourself, I like saving money. I like being financially independent. I like having a bank account that's growing. I hate spending money. I hate being in debt. I love to be financially free. Just keep talking to yourself and visualizing that picture until it comes true. And finally, number 10, back your plans with persistence and determination. In other words, once you start, never give up until you achieve your goal. And of course, be easy on yourself. You'll fall off the wagon every so often. You'll buy something that's silly and you'll overspend. But get back onto the track of saving your money. Remember, the great rule for success is spend less than you earn. The great rule for financial success throughout the ages is simply spend less than you earn. 5 words. 5 words that will get you out of debt. 5 words that will make you rich. Thank you for listening. Hello, this is Brian Tracy again, and I have a question for you. Are you in business for yourself currently, or have you ever thought about starting your own business? Or are you in sales and interested in increasing your sales results by 50 to 100% over the next 3 to 6 months? If your answer is yes to either or more than one of these questions, I have some good news for you. More people are going to make more money and become financially independent, if not millionaires, in the next few years in America than ever before in history. And fully 80% of those new millionaires will be people who start and build their own successful businesses, and the top salespeople in every field. What this means is that if you're in business already, you're at the front of the line for achieving financial success. Your goal must be to operate your business with maximum efficiency so that you can maximize your profits at every step along the way. Now, if you're in sales, you owe it to yourself to learn how to be one of the highest paid people in your industry. Remember, in life, you can earn a little or you can earn a lot. The choice is largely up to you. No one is smarter than you, and no one is better than you. If someone is doing better than you are financially, it's simply because they know more about what they are doing than you do at the current moment. All business skills, all sales skills are learnable. If you can drive a car, use a cell phone, or operate a computer, you can learn any business or selling skill. Once you learn a specific business skill, you can use it over and over again. Each time you use it, you get better and better at it and get better results in less time. This is the way most people achieve great personal and business success, and so can you. Why am I telling you this? Well, the average business owner earns between $60,000 and $100,000 per year. The average salesperson earns about $45,000 a year. Some, however, earn hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in the same fields, selling the same products and services to the same customers under the same competitive conditions. And some even earn millions. The high road to financial success has always been entrepreneurship, starting and building your own profitable business and learning how to sell. Again, why do I tell you this? Well, over the years, I have worked with more than 1,000 companies in 25 countries around the world. I have trained more than 3 million people and created thousands of millionaires in sales and entrepreneurship. I have personally started, built, managed, or turned around 22 companies. I have written more than 40 books and produced more than 300 audio and video learning programs on personal sales and business success. Well, we've now brought all of these things together, all the best ideas for starting and building a profitable business and for successful selling, and we're now making them available to you at low cost, fully supported with audios, videos, and workbooks to teach you how to become financially successful in your business or in sales or in both. We have created the Brian Tracy Online University of Sales and Entrepreneurship to show you the step-by-step processes that you can follow to increase your income, become financially independent, and eventually become a self-made millionaire. Brian Tracy Online University is designed for ambitious men and women like yourself who have two qualities. First, they recognize that to earn more, you must learn more. The ideal students for BTU realize that their key to the future is the continuous acquisition of knowledge and skill in business and sales. You probably know by now that you cannot achieve more by simply working longer and harder hours. Instead, you must learn how to operate your business with greater efficiency, effectiveness, and profitability. You must learn how to focus, concentrate, and sell more of your products and services to more customers at better prices. The only way that you can achieve business and sales success is by learning and practicing new strategies and techniques, and by applying these techniques to your business activities every single day. The second quality for students to attend Brian Tracy University is that they have the self-control, self-mastery, and self-discipline to invest at least 1 hour per week in learning how to sell or to run their businesses more profitably. As Napoleon Hill once said, self-discipline is the master key to riches. If you have this discipline, or you can develop it, your future can be unlimited. If you are in your own business or thinking of starting a business or in sales, the courses offered at Brian Tracy University will save you thousands of dollars and many years of hard work in achieving the same level of financial success. All the information you need to enroll is at briantracyu.com. But let me tell you briefly what you get when you become a student in the Brian Tracy University of Sales and Entrepreneurship. First of all, you will participate in a structured learning program built around a series of practical, proven methods, techniques, and strategies that you can use immediately to improve your business and your sales. You will learn how to make better decisions and how to operate your business at the highest level of efficiency. Each lesson takes less than 1 hour to complete. You can move through the program faster or slower as you choose. Some students take 1 lesson per week, and other students take 1 lesson per day. It's up to you. It's completely self-directed learning. In addition, with your enrollment in these internet-based business and sales learning programs, you receive in the mail workbooks, CDs, DVDs, and books and articles that reinforce and support what you are learning. Within a few weeks or even days, you will be making better decisions, taking more effective actions, and getting better business and sales results than you ever thought possible. You will learn how to double your personal income and then double it again. You will learn the insights, ideas, and so-called secrets of success practiced by the most successful people in every business, large or small. The courses at Brian Tracy University are inexpensive and based on years of practical experience with hundreds of companies. Each course and each lesson in each course is focused on helping you to get immediate, measurable financial results. At Brian Tracy University, you get the equivalent of a practical street-smart MBA in effective business and sales methodology. Once you've completed the core courses in business success, you will be able to graduate and move onward to advanced courses in selling, management, and personal productivity. Or you can start with high-performance selling and see your income increase immediately. When you have finished each program, you will receive a certificate of completion, like a diploma, suitable for framing. Hundreds of thousands of my business and sales students worldwide have achieved extraordinary financial results after attending my seminars and training sessions and listening to my CDs or watching my DVDs. Many people have doubled and tripled their incomes, and even become rich by simply reading my books. Now, all of the best ideas I have developed in more than 25 years of working with hundreds of businesses and thousands of people are available to you at your fingertips anytime, anywhere, on demand at Brian Tracy University. If you're truly serious about your financial future, if you would like to learn how to build a successful business and achieve high levels of sales and profitability, come to Brian Tracy University at briantracyu.com today and enroll. These easy-to-take, easy-to-learn, Internet-delivered programs will give you the critical skills you need to achieve any financial goal you can set for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Come to briantracyu.com and take one of the free personal assessments to learn your strengths and weaknesses today. If you're in business or starting a business, take the 25-question assessment, Reasons for Business Success and Reasons for Business Failure. This special self-graded diagnostic instrument is used by businesses worldwide to determine their areas of strength and weakness and their areas of opportunity for profit growth. If you're in sales, come and take the free Sales Skills Assessment to learn what you need to do to increase your sales rapidly. You can come to briantracyu.com and download either or both of these assessments at no cost or obligation. If your goal is to achieve financial independence and even become a self-made sales or entrepreneurial millionaire in the months and years ahead, come to Brian Tracy University and let me show you exactly what you need to do to increase your sales and to build and maintain a highly profitable business. Prove it for yourself. Come to briantracyu.com, download the free business or sales analysis, and see how you are doing today in each area. If these assessments are helpful to you, your next step may be to enroll at Brian Tracy University and begin moving toward the financial success that you both deserve and desire. The main difference between success and failure is decisiveness. Successful people get the facts, make a decision, and take action. The keys to your future are knowledge, skill, and continuous learning. Brian Tracy University is the fastest and easiest way for you to get the skills you need. Please take action today. This is Brian Tracy. Thank you for listening. I look forward to working with you in achieving your business and sales success goals in the months ahead.